I went back and forth for a little while about if I'm going to make this video or not, and the topic specifically, because this video is not for everybody. And it might make some people mad, and some people are probably going to take it the wrong way. And that's not my intention. But I believe that there is a specific group of young men out there specifically that are going through this, because this is something that I've gone through and dealt with, I guess, that I just feel like God's put on my heart to be someone who delivers this message. So it's not for everyone, but it is for a select group of people, and you know who you are. This video is going to act as your warning, your wake-up call to know that you don't have to do anything that the world says that you have to do. For example, one of the most popular things that the world says is, in order to succeed, you need to go to college. The world says you need to get a secure, stable job and work 40 hours plus per week away from your family. The world says you need to climb the corporate ladder and grind away your entire life until one day, hopefully, you'll be able to retire at 65, 70 years old, whenever you're in the last and final years of your life. And the common thing is to get so caught up in what the world says that you spend your whole life waiting for the next best thing to bring you happiness. And you wake up one day, and this is one of my biggest fears, waking up one day on my deathbed, looking back on my entire life and thinking, where did all the time go? I was so caught up in trying to fit in. I was so caught up in trying to impress other people with the car that I drove, with the house that I had, or the clothes that I even wore, that I gave up my true desires and my dreams just to take the easy, secure route in life. The world says you need the latest iPhone, designer clothes, or a certain brand of shoes, or a certain amount of square footage in your house to be happy. And I'm here to tell you that that's so far from the truth. So for those of you who feel the same way about this that I do, we're in luck, because the Bible says that God has called us to each a unique plan and a unique purpose. In Jeremiah 29:11, in Romans 8:28, and in other places in the Bible. And honestly, I'm very glad for that, because life would get very boring if we were all just the exact same. For me, I'm guessing this is just the way that God made me, and it's for a reason. And I know it's for a reason. But I am someone who is terrible in normal work environments or even school settings. I felt like every single day of school, from early junior high all the way throughout high school, I just dreaded going, and I thought that I could be using my time so much better, and that I wasn't going to use any information that I was being given, or I wouldn't be able to apply most of the things that school brought me into my everyday life. And I looked 20 years down the line at the path that I was going and that everybody else was going around me, and I had a lot of fear surrounding that, because that's not what I wanted for my life. I looked around and saw people getting up early to go drive in traffic to a job that they actually hate, just to make a certain amount of money so that they can buy cars to impress people that they don't even like, and to leave work finally at the end of the day and clock out, drive home in traffic, be stressed out and burnt out, to finally get home and walk into the door to your wife and your kids and barely be able to even spend time with them, because your mind has been focused on work and you're tired and you just want to rest. And before you know it, your kids grow up and they're out of the house, and all you have to look back on is work. Now, the lifestyle that I just described is oftentimes what a lot of people think is the path to this quote unquote success that the world says. Having a good job, having a good car, being able to climb the corporate ladder to get to that next position and next raise, or get into that next income bracket. And I looked at that whenever I was about 18 years old, and I said, there's no way that this is what my life is going to be like every day. There was no way that that is the only option. And it's funny, because I've always heard these two songs, and they're not necessarily biblical songs or Christian music, but they talk about this idea of not getting caught up in worldly money and success and worrying about all those things. The first song is Buy Dirt. And I just want to read you a few of the lyrics and give you an idea of the song. So essentially, there's this 80-year-old man. He was sitting out back on the rocker, and he said to a younger guy, "What you been up to lately?" He told him, "Chasing the dollar." And in between sips of coffee, he poured this wisdom out and said, "If you want my 2 cents on making a dollar count, buy dirt." And then he goes on to say, before you get caught on that ladder, and I took this as like referencing the corporate ladder, let me tell you what life is all about. Find you a few things that matter that you can build a fence around. He said, do what you love, but call it work, and throw a little money in the plate at church. Send your prayers up and your roots down deep, and add a few limbs to your family tree. Because the truth about it is it all goes by real quick. You can't buy happiness, but you could buy dirt. So thank the good Lord for it, because he ain't making any more of it. So buy dirt. Now, obviously the song is about clearly like, buying land and stuff like that, but there's a couple references in there about not getting caught up in trying to chase this, I guess, certain lifestyle that the world thinks that you should have if you want to be successful. This other one is called Rich Man's Gold. It's where I got the title of this video. It says, you weren't born to just pay bills and die. All you need is a dog, a shack, a creek in the back, and a good woman to hold. You don't need that rich man's gold. And basically he goes on to describe this lifestyle where most people would deem them as like poor and, not having a lot, and they probably weren't happy in life. But truly, they don't need all those things that, everybody goes to work and just clocks away just to be able to have, like the fancy cars and house and, all the stuff. And this is just the way that I took it. So you don't need that rich man's gold. And it talks a lot about this in Ecclesiastes, where the author is writing about everything is meaningless under the sun. Starting off in Ecclesiastes 5, verse 10, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. And I made a note here in a random time back whenever I was reading this, and I said, striving to be rich and constantly striving for more is completely different than enjoying what God has given you or what God has for you. And it's the difference between striving foolishly for the next best thing and being content with what God has for you. And there's a bunch of ties in the Bible talking about the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, and a lot of stuff about putting your hope into wealth and putting your security in money. And the Bible warns about these things. Ecclesiastes 11:4, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Whenever I first wrote this down to mention in this video, obviously it's referring to a farmer. Whoever watches the wind will not plant, or whoever watches the weather, waiting for the perfect season, is never going to plant. And if you go through your entire life waiting for the perfect moment to do something, you're never going to do it. And in the same way, I feel like God revealed this to me, that if you wait your entire life for the perfect moment to get out of the situation that you're in, that you don't want to be in, and pursue the actual desires and dreams and calling that God has for your life, even though it may be scary, that's what you need to do. You can't just wait around for the perfect moment. And it's kind of like, people will get a weird feeling thinking about this, saying like, chase your dreams and like this weird motivational stuff, but this is life that we're talking about. I don't care if there's a certain like cheesy quote that you have to tell yourself every day. If it allows you to live your life with no regret, then that's what you need to do. And there's obviously a lot of pressure that comes with taking a different route in life. For me personally, I've never had a traditional, reliable, stable job for more than like 3 months, because I absolutely hated the environment that I would be in. And I always worked better for myself, being self-employed, whether that was having a little lawn care business in high school, or doing social media, or working for brands or marketing, anything that I was more in control and not under a boss telling me what to do every day. That's where I personally found the most satisfaction and was able to, I guess, be a creator, which is what I feel like God has called me to be, and be my own boss and stuff like that. Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead where you're going, there is neither working nor planning, nor knowledge nor wisdom. And it's essentially saying whatever you end up doing in life, do it with all your might. It talks about this in Colossians 3:23, where it says, in whatever you do, work as unto the Lord and not unto men. And there was a popular clip of a Dave Ramsey call where Dave Ramsey is talking about this verse. And he says the best way that he could explain that in like everyday modern terms is if you're thinking about a sports game and you want to apply this verse, it's essentially like leaving it all out on the field, giving it all you got and going all 110% and acting like that's the last game that you'll ever play. And I think that's how you should live life. What's the whole point of life if you're just going to take the easy way out and I think God calls us to do things that are requiring that leap of faith. Getting that secure, stable job is exactly what I feel like the enemy wants me to do, because it's taking God out of the equation. It's less faith that I have to have in him to provide. Of course, I want to do these videos full time, and I don't know where my money is going to come from necessarily, but I feel like God's calling me to do these videos, and that's my leap of faith of putting myself out there. First of all, I'm not an extrovert by any means. I am socially awkward half the time. I didn't go to college, so literally hit whenever I was in high school, junior, senior year. I started staying home doing Zoom classes because I hated school so much. So I would stay home and skip out on half the work. And then I never went to college. So it was just me and my wife. It was just us two the whole time. And we would never really see anybody. And then I got into this shell. And the only way that I ever came out of this shell was literally stepping out in faith, because I felt like God was calling me to make videos like this and to put myself out there and be bold with my faith. And because I truly feel like over the last 8 years of my life, ever since I was in junior high, he's been revealing this to me, that there's not just one way to go about life. And so many people die with regret because they want to please others, or they want to keep up with the Joneses, or they care too much about the amount of money in their bank account because that's what success looks like, or having a certain career. There's just so many stigmas that come with success in the world. And I think God is using me through this video and through these videos on my channel to expose that and to make you realize that we don't all have the same calling in life. We don't all thrive in the secure, stable jobs, like the typical 9 to 5 or whatever. And it may be a small group of people. There may be 10 people that watch this. And even if there's only 10 that truly need this message, this is for you. And I want to make sure that if you're watching this video and you have these feelings, that you're not alone, that you're not alone, because I have felt so alone in this for the past 8 years of my life or something like that. It's been a constant feeling of me feeling like I'm never going to be satisfied, or I'm never going to be happy, because I don't want to do all the things that everybody else is doing. I want to take a different route. And I think God has called me to do that. Now, before I keep on rambling, I'm just going to read what the Bible has to say about how you should live your life. And I think that you could apply that. If you're watching this video and this video is truly for you, I want you to listen to this, because this helped me a lot. First of all, we know that in Matthew chapter 6, I believe, that we shouldn't worry about our future. We shouldn't worry about the clothes that we're going to wear, or the food that we're going to eat, or how are we going to do all these things, and that our Heavenly Father knows what we need before we even ask Him. So don't live life with a worry feeling that even though you're taking this different path in life, that you think that you need to worry about where you're going to get your food or how God's going to provide, and He will provide. We also know that in James, it talks about don't boast about tomorrow either. Just because you're finally, deciding to chase your dreams and pursue that business idea or whatever, you don't got to go tell everybody. You could just keep it between you and God. Don't go boasting about what you're going to be doing next year and how much money you're going to be making and all this. Don't worry about the future and boast about it. Live in the present moment and take up your cross every single day and ask God for your daily bread and rely on Him. It says in Ecclesiastes 3, verse 12, I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in their toil. This is the gift from God. Finding satisfaction in your work is something that I think is so overlooked. People are constantly taking the job that pays more simply because it pays more, instead of taking the job or the career that's going to be more satisfying to them. Finally, in 8 verse 15, it says, So I commend the enjoyment of life, because there is nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and to drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of the life that God has given them under the sun. So to wrap this up, I feel like we as humans tend to overcomplicate things. And there may be a few people that take this the wrong way. This is not an excuse for laziness, because I'm just going to be honest, I used this as an excuse for laziness for a long time, thinking I'm going to wait for God to reveal to me what he has for my life, because I know it's not a specific thing. Because in Colossians 3:23, it says, "In whatever you do, work as unto the Lord," essentially leaving it all on the field, giving 110%. At the end of the day, you are working for the Lord. Everything that we do is meant to bring glory to him. So if you're still watching this video, I challenge you to take that leap of faith. Whatever you feel like God's been putting on your heart for so long, but it's so scary to do and so scary to commit to. Maybe it's a career change to another job. Maybe it's a lifestyle change, or maybe it's a business idea that you've been having that you would love to do, but you're scared that it's not going to make enough money. I want to challenge you to take that leap of faith, the leap of faith of getting out of the situation that you're in and turn to the true desires of your heart. And may God grant you the wisdom to lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, submit to him. Submit all of your plans, all of your desires to God, and he's going to make your path straight. So that way you can finally go all in on what God has for you, not what this world has for you. If you like this video, subscribe, and definitely check out this one. I pray that God spoke to you during this video and lit this fire underneath you to finally go all in on the calling that he truly has for you. God bless.